With so much excitement building around the Raiders and their inaugural season in Las Vegas, the fans want to be heard. The launch of Vegas Nation Fan Zone is their answer. That's right, Raiders fans can sound off on all things Raiders, from players to coaches to even the new Allegiant Stadium. Vegas Nation Fan Zone is accessible 24/7 and allows fans to generate and upload their own posts for lively interaction. Simply go to fanzone.vegasnation.com to sign up today.
Hey guys, welcome to this week's live video mailbag. Thanks for joining. Happy to do it. Tough loss on Sunday for the Raiders out in New England. I was there, 36-20. But the Raiders played pretty well early on. They had some chances. You can't keep shooting yourselves in the foot. Three turnovers. Two were really big, especially the Josh Jacobs, fumble at the 12-yard line. There's a penalty by Denzel Good on illegal man downfield that negated a key first down. Would have set the Raiders up first and goal to go at the 3. Instead, it was 3rd and long. They don't convert. They kick a field goal instead of getting a touchdown. So it's little things like that. 6 penalties. All the things that the Raiders were avoiding in their first 2 games, first 2 wins, all kind of reared their ugly head. But we're going to get to your questions here ASAP. And we're going to do that right now. So Brian Cuevas at Breezy90s wants to know, why do we have bad luck? It sure seems like that sometimes. And but I will say, no doubt about it, the Raiders, the injuries are mounting up. We just saw that Damon Arnett's going to go see a hand specialist to take a look at his injured thumb. He has a fractured thumb, kind of dinged it again on Sunday against the Patriots. He's going to get looked at either today or tomorrow, and we'll see what the status is. There are reports that he could miss, multiple weeks, and that's not good. But better for him, to go ahead and get that thing healthy, because you can't keep having situations where he keeps getting hurt and having to leave games. So we'll see that. But as far as bad luck, you look around the rest of the NFL and everybody's dealing with injuries, whether it's because of what happened or didn't happen during the offseason, the condensed, training that you had in OTAs and mini camps, which were non-existent. Then of course, a very restricted type of a training camp. You wonder if some of these injuries are a result of just guys not being where they need to be physically to start a season. So it seems like there's some bad luck going on, but boy, I'll tell you what, there's some real bad luck going on with some other teams with guys that have been lost for the season due to injuries. Okay, let's move on. At OC Raider MX, Colin wants to know, even though we have a winning record, the defense is awful. How hot is Gunther's seat? How much longer does John roll with them? Well, I think There were some issues, no doubt about it, on Sunday, especially defending the run. I thought there were poor angles being taken. I thought there was missed tackles, and there were definitely instances, just watching the tape, where guys just weren't in the gaps they were supposed to be in to make tackles, and as a result, there were wide open gaps for Patriot running backs to run through. So, that's something that needs to get squared away. But when you start talking about firing coaches and how hot is Gunther's seat, obviously the buck stops at Paul Gunther's desk, no doubt about it. But when you look at this Raiders defense with 7 new starters being put into the lineup, a bunch of young players, a lot of first and second year players, and not to make any excuses, but when you're talking about no OTAs and mini camps and the condensed training camp that we've already talked about, I think it's more a issue of continuity, guys getting on the same page, developing chemistry, developing trust, knowing what they're doing, knowing that the other guy knows what he's doing. Defense is such a cohesive type of a unit, and guys just need to do their jobs. And right now it looks like people are either a little bit unsure or trying to do too much. The chemistry just isn't there. And I contend that, firing the coach at this point might challenge that even further. I think this is an issue of, guys still trying to figure it all out. And if you're going to change coaches at this point, that just sets that whole process back even further. So I think you stick with the process. There's good players on that defense. You hope you get Nick Kwiatkowski. He's the quarterback of that defense and a huge part of the run defense. You hope that he comes back sooner rather than later and is able to get the things settled down a little bit. And Damon Arnett is healthy. I wouldn't be into firing any coaches right now. I think you got to let this process play out. It's really early in the season. There's been some good moments. I thought they played pretty well early in that game against the Patriots, but no doubt some things need to be addressed. I think time is your most valuable asset in that regard, rather than being hasty and firing somebody. Brian Cuevas did add, I don't think Marinelli is the answer, though, if Gunther gets canned. Again, just to reiterate, I think the answers are available for the Raiders in that building, including the coaches. I just think it just needs a little bit more time, and we all kind of knew that. So I think to overreact at this point to something that we kind of knew or braced for, as far as the learning curve and the process it was going to take to get this defense, a young defense with a whole bunch of new faces put together on the fly, basically, was going to take some time. So I think it would be counterproductive to start talking about firing coaches at this point. Let's see what else we got. Keep the questions coming. Go back. Let's see what else we got. When will we get a word on Henry Ruggs? That's Go Raiders 19. Well, they're off today. Today's Tuesday, so tomorrow they will be back at it, and injury reports start coming out on the first day of official day of practices to start the new week. So, tomorrow we're going to get some sort of an update, on where he is. And the thing that was a little bit disconcerting to me anyway was it started out as a knee injury, and then it turned into also a hamstring issue. And I think sometimes that happens where you're kind of compensating for one injury and then you aggravate something else. That's really the big challenge, facing Henry Ruggs and the Raiders, to be prudent and give him the necessary time so that you're not dealing with one injury, let alone 2. So we'll see. He's a tough guy. I know he wants to be out there, but the Raiders really need to be prudent with young Henry Ruggs. It's a long season. You want him out there for the balance of it. Derek Evans at Derek Evans 20 wants to know, how confident should fans be in Gruden getting the team focused on Buffalo after losing to New England? I gotta say, after the game on Sunday, one thing that I noted up here in the old noggin was I liked the demeanor of the Raiders. No doubt they were disappointed and frustrated, mostly with themselves, about how all that turned out. Yeah, they gave respect to the Patriots, and deservedly so, but this wasn't a situation where, they got whipped up and down the field or were completely outclassed. If anything, they were in that game, number one. Number two, they had some chances to really take control of that game early on, but they were shooting themselves in the foot. And as frustrating as that can be sometimes, you take a little bit of solace in, hey, if we just fix ourselves, if we just clean up what we're doing, we put ourselves in a much better position. That's as opposed to the last few years where no matter how good the Raiders played, in some cases they just didn't have the talent to compete. I don't sense that that's the issue right now. So I like the demeanor of, hey, let's just fix what we messed up ourselves, and we'll be in a much better position. And there was some positivity coming out of that, rather than a bunch of guys hanging their heads and and putting themselves in danger of letting something bad start rolling down the hill. I think they'll be ready for Buffalo, no doubt about it. The 5'10" hurdle, and he is at Zay. The 5'10" hurdle wants to know, is the lack of deep shots on Carr, the play calling, or a mix of both? Well, if you go back to the first two games, they took some deep shots, and that's even with Henry Ruggs being a little bit dinged up, especially in that second game. But they took shots downfield, and I think the healthier Henry Ruggs is, the more you're going to see that. Not having him on Sunday against the Patriots was low-key pretty big, because it took away that element. And it's not just the element to throw deep, but it's the element to stretch the defense with that speed and then open things up inside. And if you watch what the Patriots were doing, they didn't care after a while about the deep threat, because there really wasn't any more of a deep threat or somebody that was truly capable of taking the top off the defense. So they set their defense to reflect that. And also keep in mind, and this is a huge part of this, if you're not confident that you can get that blocked to give Derek Carr the necessary time to take that shot deep downfield, you're going to be hesitant to call that. And when you look at the Raiders offensive line, you got a guard that's playing right tackle, you got a rookie playing left guard, you're down your starting right tackle, your starting left guard, your key backup tackle. It's I'm not going to say it's dire straits, but there's reasons why starters are starters and backups are backups. And right now they're down to some backups right now. So it's not an excuse, but that's going to affect how you play call, because you got to know that you're going to be able to protect it in order for it to be successful. And if you don't, then you're not going to see as many long balls being thrown. But I think as they get healthy, and that includes Henry Ruggs in the offensive line, you're going to start seeing that more and more. That's why they drafted him. Andy Wheel at UC of football wants to know who will be wide receiver 2 this week. Well, I think that's it's going to be if you're going to be technical about it, let's just say Brian Edwards is wide receiver 1. Or if Henry Ruggs plays, then I think he's quote unquote wide receiver 1. Brian Edwards would be wide receiver 2. Hunter Renfrow would be wide receiver 3. Tough to say that really quick. And then Nelson Aguilar and Zay Jones would be your 2 guys coming off the bench. If Henry Ruggs can't play, just move that up a little bit with Edwards being number 1, and then either Aguilar or Zay Jones being number 2, and still with Hunter Renfrow in the slot. That's how I see it playing out. Tony Fatso at Tony Fatso. Okay, large public gathering, indoors, unmasked events last night seems like a major disregard to COVID prevention. Was this team approved? And if not, what's the team's response? Okay, I have all these questions out, by the way. There has been no team's response yet, and I would assume that they're going to put out some sort of a statement here pretty soon. Was a team approved or not? That's hard to say because this was a private event for a player, and Tuesdays are players' off days. So they're basically free to do what they want. Away from the building. Was the team aware of it? I think so, because there was a press release put out from that, but they didn't put it together, from what I understand anyway. The team, and I'd be shocked if they did. The team didn't put it together. This was put together by Darren Waller's people, and the location that it was held at, which was a country club here in the Las Vegas area. And I know people are really upset that we wrote that story, and I wrote that story, and I understand why. You don't want to see anyone getting in trouble, but you guys got to understand, man. There's reasons why there are rules in place right now, and it goes beyond just what the state and the city, is recommending or enforcing. This is the NFL and the NFL Players Association. There's a whole list of things that players are not allowed to do during this season with COVID-19 hovering as a shadow, flat out. And to be honest with you, what I saw on that video, it pushes right up under the line of some of those stipulations and some of those forbidden activities. And so we're going to see what the NFL has to say about this. So this was, I mean, I'm hearing all these things. Oh, you snitched on him. Oh, the video is out. Anyone can see the video, and anyone can look at that video and go, uh-oh, that doesn't look right in these times. And I didn't make the rules, all right? I don't enforce the rules, but the NFL does, and the NFL Players Association does, and they put together a comprehensive plan last July. And it wasn't to say you can't do this and you can't do that, and we're going to tattletale or we're going to snitch or anything like that. Let's grow up a little bit here, okay? It was so that players can stay safe. It was that so this season can be played. That's why you do what you do. It's not just about you. You've got 53 teammates and a big practice squad that's in that same locker room that you're working. And you've got people that coworkers, and when you're an NFL player, your coworkers are your coaches, staff members, strength and conditioning coaches, the people that cook the food at the facility, your general manager, your entire team staff. They're also in that building. And we all need to do what's right in order to make sure whoever we come in contact with is also safe. So people, I know I can see the anger, on Twitter, and putting this on me for reporting it. Well, I'm big enough. I'm been doing this a long time. I can take that, but let's focus on what's really going on. Whether you want to believe this is a hoax or anything like that. Look, man, there's rules and regulations in place, not just by the government. This is by the NFL and the Players Associations. It was collectively bargained between the owners and the Players Association. Those are their rules, and some of what we see on that video seems to really contradict some of those rules. So we'll see, what happens, and I would think that, we'll just see. That's what I'm going to say. But thanks for the question, Matt at mborg_80. I know with injuries mounting, Raiders are going to have to address multiple positions, but any chance they do something about the safety position? Eric Harris is rough. There's no doubt that Eric Harris has started a little bit slow this year. Took some poor angles yesterday, or excuse me, on Sunday, as did Jonathan Abram. That's just gotta, the Raiders aren't good enough to play sloppy. That's just the fact of the matter. They're not good enough to let their fundamentals slip a little bit. As far as going out and getting a new player, well, that comes down to money. It comes down to does that player even want to play for the Raiders? Is it a scheme fit? All of those things. So we'll have to see. I do know, just talking to Raiders people all the time, they're in continual get better mode. So if they believe that there's somebody out there that's attainable, that's mutually interested, I think they're not going to. I don't think they'll leave any stone uncovered. So we'll have to, keep monitoring that. But no doubt, Eric Harris needs to get better. Unknown at we_bay78. Has anyone said anything about Amik? Hoping he's still learning the system. He's referring to Amik Robertson, the Raiders' 4th-round pick from Louisiana Tech. He's a cornerback. He hasn't dressed the last couple of games. Look, everyone's timetable is a little bit different. LaMarcus Joyner is actually playing pretty well, so that's Amik's position. B, it's on him to learn the system and to show that he's worthy and ready to play. And if you're not dressing out, sometimes that's an indication of you're just not where you need to be at this point. And that's not criticizing Amik Robertson. Like I said, it takes people. Not everyone is on the same time schedule. He's a good player. The Raiders liked him a lot. So we'll see if he can get where they need him to be in order to have confidence in dressing him out. But I know he's working hard. I know he's out there at practice every day, and no doubt he's learning the system. It's a long year, and it's just because he hasn't dressed out now doesn't mean that he's not going to dress out in the future or make a mark in the future. So we'll see. B Palacios 04 at B Palacios 04. Any sense on easing the workload of Jacobs? He's a beast, but they run the life out of him. I think you're seeing that they're actually doing that. Devontae Booker has gotten time. Jalen Richard has got time. So there's only so much you can do to protect these guys. And if you talk to Josh Jacobs, he wants the ball, 24/7. So I think they're doing okay in trying to protect him as much as possible. But at some point, players play, man, and he needs to be out there. He makes them a better team. So I guess to answer your question, I think they are trying to do that, but there's only so much you can do. He needs to be on the field. D period Batty at Raider Batty. That's Batti wants to know, is Littleton struggling or is it Gunther's scheme? Corey's making the switch from 3-4 defense to the 4-3 defense. That's a transition for anybody. He's not playing with Nick Kwiatkowski, who was a big part of kind of teaming with him to make that linebacker position really strong. And they both do different things. There's some things that they do that they both do the same. There's also some things that Nick brings to the table that enhances Littleton and vice versa. So. I think in that run defense, that's where Nick Kwiatkowski is missed so much, and it's why it's so important for the Raiders to get him back. I think Corey will get better. I thought he played fairly well in the first half. Yesterday, there were a couple plays where he just missed, man. I watched the tape. There was a couple plays where he fought off big linemen and a tight end really well to get in position, and just right when he got there, he just didn't make the play. I've seen Corey Littleton make those plays a million times, so my money is on him improving as the year goes on. Fire and brimstone, great question. The Raiders bring defensive guys in, and they often seem to underperform. Now, if you say it's not Gunther and the system, then who did the evaluation? Why did they bring guys in? Disappointed with Raiders deep. Listen. I'm not in the meetings, so I don't know who's getting what and who understands what. I think there were some things schematically that no doubt Cam Newton and the Patriots took advantage of. On Sunday, and those are adjustments that the Raiders are going to have to make sure that doesn't happen again. I think guys performing poorly. To me, it's a case of guys are just trying to do too much. They just need to settle down and play their game and understand, hey, just get back to doing what it was that attracted the Raiders to them in the first place. And I think that if they just focus on that, that whole defense is gonna get better. And we'll see. I think it's close, to be honest with you, but they can't let what happened in the second half against the Patriots continue to happen. How bad does it look? This is CM2 at Carlos MTZ2. How bad does it look for Ruggs? Possible IR stint. Now, I think they're going to try to avoid the IR because that means you're going to miss 3 games minimum, and then you're not allowed to practice in that situation too. So there goes a lot of your conditioning and all that. We'll see. Like I said, on Wednesday, tomorrow, we'll get the first of the week of the daily injury reports. We'll see where he is and try to get an answer from John Gruden on where he might be. But I think they're going to try to avoid the IR stint. All right, we've got a question from Diego Munoz at dat _Raider _dude at that Raider dude. How come Raiders haven't played? He's asking about Amik Robertson. Well, again, so often I've been told players determine playing time, and right now, for whatever reason, he's not showing the Raiders what they need to see, not even just to be out there playing, but dressing out for games. He's been on the inactive list the last couple of weeks. So I think he needs to just keep getting better, keep chipping away, keep studying the playbook, and when his opportunities come along in practice, to take advantage of them. I think he'll do that, and I think before long you're going to see him out there. But it's on him more than anything. It's on him. Tom at Tom633-89935. During training camp, appeared Rico Gafford was making strides at wide receiver. I thought with Ruggs out, he might get a few looks deep. Any news on him? To me, I think without Ruggs, you know, the thing that Zay Jones and Nelson Aguilar bring in relief is a lot of experience. So, you know, I think they like what they're getting from Nelson. They like what they're getting from Zay Jones, and so I think it's just a numbers game for Rico Gafford. But you know, there's no doubt he brings some speed, and you know, we'll see if they're able to implement him into the game plan a little bit. Stephen Booth at SD_Izzy_25. Why not take a chance and reach out to Des Bryant? You know, with the injuries to our wide receiver core and the mentor he could be, as well as a huge red zone target. I think I think the Raiders are good, fine at wide receiver right now. I mean, if something, you know, if Brian Edwards is more hurt because he was dinged up, then we imagine, you know, maybe at that point, you know, there's something that they can do, look outside the building. But I think they're okay at wide receiver. The wide receiver wasn't the issue on Sunday, and it hasn't been the issue at all this year. I mean, you know, Derek Carr is spreading the ball around. I think another 10 receiving targets got touches on Sunday. I think what happened on Sunday was too many turnovers and too many mistakes, too many penalties, and an inability to stop the run in the second half. I don't think the offense was the issue, and certainly not wide receiver. Let's see. Fern Rea at Full Court Fern wants to know, Derek Carr gets a lot of criticism from the fans for his reluctance to attempt the deep pass or run for yardage and go to his safety valves of a running back or tight end for the safe play. Is this a Carr thing by design or from the coaching staff? Like I said earlier, he's taken some shots downfield, especially when Henry Ruggs has been on the field. You know, I think the wrong thing is to force it just for the sake of forcing it, or just to say, hey, I did it. You know, I think it needs to be there. Were there some plays, you know, that Derek left out on the table on the field Sunday? Yeah, but you could pretty much say that for every game. And again, a lot of this goes back to that, can it get blocked? Is he going to be able to get the necessary time to throw it deep? And right now, with a banged up offensive line, that is a challenge. You saw that when he held on to the ball, the trouble that it kind of created, because you're asking your line, you know, to withhold or to, you know, hold up, and it's a banged up line. So I think when this team starts getting more and more intact with their starters starting, I think you'll start seeing some different things happening. Okay, Devin at DevRoyal7. With Arnett possibly out, do you think the Raiders give Isaiah Johnson more snaps as a starter opposite Mullen, or maybe he rotates with Lawson? I think it's going to be the latter. I think Lawson plays well. There's a lot of confidence in him, and I think Isaiah will get some time, though, no doubt about it. I like Isaiah Johnson. I think he's a good guy to have around, especially in this kind of a situation. He's, you know, with Arnett likely out, he's going to get some, you know, an opportunity. There's no doubt about it. Let's see. A lot of questions about Paul Gunther. I think I addressed that. Just give it some time. You know, more questions on Derek Carr not looking downfield. I think we've addressed that. So let's see. Oh, by the way, wanted to let everybody know that we have some photo contest winners. So congratulations goes out to, let's give a shout out to, for week 2, it goes to Reno Oakland Raiders fans. That was a really cool picture. It looks like of the family. Mom and dad dressed up in full-on Raiders gear. I like that, and the kids are smiling. I love that photo. And for week 3, it goes to Elizabeth E., who is set up with, I'm going to just say, her husband or her boyfriend. And they are at the tailgate party that the Raiders hosted on Sunday. Looks very nice, peaceful. Looked like a nice day out there. I was in New England, pretty nice day in New England that day, but looked like it was a really good one in Las Vegas. So Elizabeth E. and Reno Oakland Raiders fan, congratulations. You guys are our first 2 fantastic photo contest winners for Vegas Nation. So congratulations. I think that's going to do it for the questions today. Some really good questions. I know there's frustration anytime, the Raiders lose, but I think this is a pretty good team. I think the head is where it needs to be. And I think that this is a big test, though. Buffalo Bills are a really good team. You would have liked the Raiders to have been coming home to a full Allegiant Stadium to welcome them back and kind of give them that extra energy, but that's not going to be the case. The Raiders are going to have to find it, on their own. Emotional win for the Buffalo Bills last week against the Rams as well. Now they got to make the big trip across country. It isn't always easy to do. So I think the Raiders are in a pretty decent position to rebound here. And it's a good test for them because I think the Buffalo Bills are one of the premier teams in the AFC. They may be a year or so ahead of where the Raiders are right now in the whole process. So this will be a good test for a young Raiders team against a young up-and-coming Buffalo Bills team. I just want to thank everybody for taking part today, and I'll see you down the road.
With so much excitement building around the Raiders and their inaugural season in Las Vegas, the fans want to be heard. The launch of Vegas Nation Fan Zone is their answer. That's right, Raiders fans can sound off on all things Raiders, from players to coaches to even the new Allegiant Stadium. Vegas Nation Fan Zone is accessible 24/7 and allows fans to generate and upload their own posts for lively interaction. Simply go to fanzone.vegasnation.com to sign up today. With so much excitement building around the Raiders and their inaugural season in Las Vegas, the fans want to be heard. The launch of Vegas Nation Fan Zone is their answer. That's right, Raiders fans can sound off on all things Raiders, from players to coaches to even the new Allegiant Stadium. Vegas Nation Fan Zone is accessible 24/7 and allows fans to generate and upload their own posts for lively interaction. Simply go to fanzone.vegasnation.com to sign up today.